What's going on here gamers? Today we're back with some more of the Diofield Chronicle. What I'm going to be covering today are my top 5 picks for the best characters in the game. These characters will help you absolutely lay waste to your enemies and are a lot of fun to use and can get through the toughest content very easy. So if that interests you, then stay tuned. Let's go on up next. Welcome back everybody. Today we're back with a bit of Diofield Chronicle. I've been leveling up my characters. I've pretty much done everything in the game except for New Game Plus. I've played enough of this game now in order to work out which characters are good enough to chuck into teams, which ones are outstanding, and some are just ridiculously more powerful than others. So what ones should you be using in your teams and what do they bring to the battle? So before I go into my top 5, I have a little bonus one because there's one you may well need in your team, even though it might not be for his actual skills and such. And that's going to be this guy right here, Frederick. I have to say that he's worth having in a team, even though I don't really enjoy the Cavalier class in this. This guy is pretty much a must just for what he brings to your team, and that's literally one of his passive buffs. That is, this one just here, Royal Disposition, increases damage dealt by all allies by 20%. Very end game, you'll be able to get another thing that you can put on anyone. I'd highly recommend chucking it on him. It's going to give you another 10%. It just means your units are going to hit a lot harder. This guy, I would probably say chuck in your top slot as a leader and then have someone underneath him that you really want to be using in order to get the most damage from them, or just bring the most to the battle. Overall, you can invest a few things into him that make him quite powerful, such as this one over here. 30% damage increase to target with status effects is actually very nice. 100% chance the HP healing fragments are dropped when an enemy is defeated by this character is also very good. But the main one is going to be this one, the Royal Disposition, like I said, in order to give your allies that extra 20% damage. Next up, and we have an absolute beast of a caster, and that's Shivat. This guy is so good, he really is. He's got a lot going for him. His skills are one of the things I really like about this character. At endgame, you'll be able to get Sanctuary, Lightning Rod, Frenzied Soul, and you're going to have your Formation of Convalescent Circle. All are absolutely amazing and can be used in different situations. You've got your heals, you've got your stuns, you've got damage. It's just a great character overall and perfect in a team setup. If we go over his abilities, I realised I'm just using a different save file. All of them are pretty decent to be fair. Increase EP by 10. If you keep boosting this up, he's not going to run out of EP easy, meaning he can cast very often. Auto EP recovery, again, this guy is your go-to. He's going to have enough mana or enough EP in order to cast whatever he wants most times, because he's going to have 1% every 3 seconds. Focus is going to reduce the cooldown again, meaning that he can use these very well. And another nice one with him is extend duration of continuous effects by 50%. Obviously he's able to do stun, he's able to put quite a few things into effect, especially if you try and turn him into a status build. This guy can be something pretty special in your unit. Last but definitely not least, Magicka's Metal, reduce cooldown time of all allies by 10%. Just the icing on the cake, this guy is well worth having in any team. Next up, and we've got Marita, which I hope I'm pronouncing right. This character has a lot going for them. They do a lot of damage, very possibly the highest damage in the game with its headshot skill. This one increases your skill damage by 20%, increases skill range by 20%, but also increases critical hit rate by 100%. But the main thing is, deal damage to enemies in the target area, critical hits deal double damage. If you're able to boost this character, if you're able to give her a lot of damage and a lot of crit chance, she can wipe out pretty much anything in the game with one tap to the head. And it's not just a single target, it works in a conal effect, so it's amazing for bosses or clearing some of the ads. Not just that though, a chain shot, probably one of my favourite skills in the game. Send a shot ricocheting from one enemy to another in the target area, inflicting weakness. The main reason you've got this, it gives Wither at tier 3. That means everything takes so much extra damage. I believe it's 50% if I remember correctly. Wither is the best debuff in the game. Make sure you've got someone who can do it, and probably make sure you've got her with Chain Shot, as it tends to work best. Also, when we look at her abilities, a lot of it, or almost all of it, is about damage. Increases your skill damage by 50% at max. Over here increases your critical hit rate 20%, and over here increase critical hit damage by 25%, as well as some other nice buffs to your technique and such. This girl is the whole package if you're after a big chunky bit of damage. Which is going to make my next pick completely strange to a lot of people. Above her, I would pick Rickenback. This woman will be overlooked by almost everyone, but she is amazing. The reason for that, you're going to be using Fantail formation with her. A lot of her kit isn't that amazing, but what she does bring means that she can do a lot of damage to a lot of enemies, sustained fire, and she's definitely the best in the game at getting you that TP, enabling you to summon. I wouldn't worry too much about her other abilities. You can use them in situations, but 9 out of 10 times you're going to be going for Fantail formation. It's going to give you a 100% chance of giving weakness, increased skill damage by 20%, and a long old range buff with 25% extra. This does 5 volleys, and it does a lot of damage to numerous enemies. Her abilities, however, look really lacking. When you compare her to the last one, she doesn't do anywhere near as much damage. Her abilities aren't quite as well set out, but she brings enough to the table, and she has some really nice passives. Technique boost, you're going to be able to get up to 50. Just down here, Fortune from above deals additional damage equal to 30% of your luck. Up the top here, again, increasing your luck, so it's going to give you a little bit more crit chance, but also going to increase your damage because of the one before. But last, but definitely not least, the main reason you're going to be picking her, she does a nice amount of damage, she gets some kills quite easily actually, and when she does, she's able to get this effect coming off. Magilumic Protection, 100% chance that TP healing fragments are dropped when an enemy is defeated. Hand in hand with one of the early game items, Blue Fox Emblem, which gives you increased TP earned by 50%, is ridiculous. You are going to be having more TP than you know what to do with. You can heal yourself, you can do your summons, you're just going to make an all-around better team with this character in it because of everything she brings to the table, and she's the best TP buffer in the game. Next up, and we've got Catherine. Catherine is not there to do damage. Not in the slightest. You should be using her very much like you would if you were doing a raid or any kind of a battle where you need a tank. She has Shield Bash, meaning that she can knock a character to stun, stopping their move, absolutely ideal. Shield Charge, I have never used this in my life. Shield Wall, 100% uptime, you will be using this pretty much constant. At tier 3, this is going to mean you get extra discipline, that's just the length of how long it goes on for, it goes on for ages, 100% chance of giving delay, which is a nice effect, provoke as standard, which is great because she's going to hold all the aggro, but even better than that, she's going to pull all the enemies towards you when activating these effects. You're going to go up to a massive group of ads, you're going to go just slightly behind them if possible, grab every single one of them, they're going to all face you. Every single one on your team can now do back attacks, you're going to get ambush, the crits will do a lot of damage, and you'll be able to take out anything in the game much faster because you've got someone that can use Shield Wall in your team. In her abilities, she's no slacker either, recovers 1 HP every 3 seconds, reduced EP cost by 30%, just over here, reduces damage received by 5% for every enemy or enemies attacking you. More defense up the top here, and the icing on the cake, she can self-revive if she does get downed. This character will make sure that you do not ever lose a battle. If you have, you've probably just done something crazy, because I've not had any issues in any battles on any difficulty because of that shield wall. It is just that good. You might have an ally go down every once in a while if they're completely out of place, but you won't lose the battle, and with a bit of strategy and with a bit of placement, you'll win everything without too many issues. Now coming in at our number 1 slot, and we have Andreas. This guy is the strangest character I've seen in any game. He is so broken, and he's broken in a good way because it's a lot of fun, but also at the same time, most of his kit is pretty awful, so it doesn't make any sense me putting him at 1, but I have to because of what he can do in the game. The reason for that is just this skill here, Assassination. Deals damage to an enemy, cooldown is reduced to 0 if the finishing blow is delivered. Increases damage by 30% during cooldown, which doesn't help this. Reduces EP cost by 20%, increased skill damage by 50%. The skill damage is a nice increase, that's a really good one. But the main thing is, you'll be able to use this over and over and over again, taking out enemies pretty much at will as long as you're using an ambush attack. If this character's not behind people, he's not the best, so make sure you use him like he should be used and use him as an assassin. But like I said, his abilities don't make sense, they really don't. To me anyway, tell me if I'm wrong. Technique boost, you're going to get 50, that's great. Just down here, 30% damage increase to targets with status effects. You have to pick this up, it's the whole reason he's going to be getting the kills, and it's the reason that you can take out anything whenever you want. Just down here, reduces cooldown time by 30%, that will never come into effect as long as you're doing things right, setting him up right. Make sure the enemies have wither on them, make sure you're boosting the damage to your team if you can, and you'll get as many kills you want with this character over and over again. Sharpshooter deals 1.2 damage, that's not bad, nothing spectacular. Increases evasion by 5%, again you don't want him to be taking damage, you want him behind, you want him to hit people and take them out. Increase attack speed by 10% while in cooldown, that's for your standard attacks, doesn't work on this character well. Assassin increases attack speed by 10% for 60 seconds upon dealing a final blow. Absolutely amazing, except we're going to go straight back into the other skill and go and get another kill, so this doesn't take any effect again. Fast hitter, again another auto attack, increase attack speed by 3%. If you're not using that skill, this character will be great going in, doing a lot of damage with his normal attacks, but you will be using that skill no matter what, otherwise you won't be using this character. And lastly, Assassin's Secret Technique. Reduces cooldown time by 1 second upon successful ambush attack. You do not need any of these to make this the best character in the game, which is ridiculously broken, but it is a lot of fun when you play with him. Ultimately, you could change whoever you want in that top slot between the top 3. They're all absolutely amazing, they can all do a lot of damage. This character tends to take people out a little bit easier than anyone else just because he can do that skill as many times as you want. Then you just got to find a way to replenish his EP or pick up a few more orbs off the floor. But yeah, definitely a lot of fun putting some combos together, some team compositions, and this game is actually a lot better than I thought. But as always, for all things gaming, for all things Xbox, take care. I'll see you on the next day.